The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
Check it out.
Welcome to RezX, an Indigenous Lifestyle Show for everyone. And today I'm your host, Tai Reign. Unfortunately, Brad Bellegarde could not be here today, but don't you worry, Brad. I got you. And for all our RezX viewers, we have a great show today, like a fantastic show with some amazing guests. And on the program, we have a spoken word artist, Austin the Noble Savage Ahenakew. So I would like to consider him my poetry brother. We came up in the slam poetry world around the same time, and he has some amazing, powerful words and messages that he would like to share with you today. And later on, RezX visited the 306 skate shop where our very own Brad Bellegarde, aka InfoRed, interviewed a local rap artist, Bellegarde. All that and more coming up on RezX. Now, usually Brad is the one who does the ranting, but since it's me today, I guess I'll just have to share what I'm thinking. So, recently my dad came back from Hawaii, where he is taking his PhD in language revitalization. That's like a long word. But I just thought it was so interesting hearing his stories that he had to tell me about the indigenous peoples of Hawaii. And since it is a language revitalization course, there's a lot of different indigenous peoples from all over the world coming there for that class. And so I thought it was super interesting to see and hear about the similarities between cultures. A lot of times you hear about the differences, what makes us us versus them, you know? But in every single religion across the world or culture, you can find similarities if you look for them, you know, with like smudging, there's incense, that's kind of similar, right? Or like communion, you know, sacred drinks and all of that stuff. There's a lot of similarities if you really take a look at it instead of focusing on the differences, what makes us different, you know? I think that a lot of times people today, they like to focus more on how unique we are rather than how similar the human race is. So I just thought that was really interesting to hear his stories from Hawaii, talking about language and culture and just hearing all of the interesting stuff from Hawaii. Like, for example, did you know that this is called the shaka? And they told me a story of how this came to be. So there was this man, surfer dude, who worked at a sugarcane mill factory in Hawaii, right? And he had an accident where his three fingers right here ended up getting cut off, right? And so his hand looked like this, right? And so since he didn't have any fingers, he had to move to a different section of the factory. And so he became a security guard. And so most of the people who would want to steal from a sugarcane factory would be children looking for sugar, right? And so how he would deal with the children is he would shake his hand at the kids going, "Shaka's gonna get you," right? Like a shark, you know, because I just thought that was funny. And then how it got popularized was a news anchor would sign off by going like this. And so that's how it became popular today. So not many people know about the origins of the shaka. So I thought that was really cool. And I said it before, and I'll say it again, we got a lot of exciting things coming up on RezX, so don't touch that dial. Coming up on RezX, we have our guest of honor, who is a spoken word artist from Ahenakew First Nation. He was born in Saskatoon, raised in Regina, and in Regina, he's made us come up as one of the most amazing spoken word artists today. His name is Austin the Noble Savage Ahenakew. Welcome back, everyone. This week's guest of honor is the amazing Austin the Noble Savage Ahenakew. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's lovely to see you again.
Nice to see you too. So, would you mind telling the people a little bit about yourself?
I'm a First Nations poet. I started off when I was around 12 years old performing on stage. Ever since then, I've been performing at Regina Word Up, which has built me up. And just this past year, I've been at SIPS, the Canadian Individual Poetry Slam in Vancouver.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, I was a semi-finalist there. And next year, I'm hoping to get there for the finals and take it home for Regina.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations and good luck on the next one.
Yes, thank you.
What initially inspired you to start writing poetry?
The first poem I ever wrote was for a girl when I was in grade 3.
Ooh.
And I started off as a bit of a sappy love poet.
Yeah.
But then once I got to high school, I kind of narrowed my scope in on issues that I felt very drawn towards and involved with. And ever since then, it's been more for driving social change and trying to bring new perspectives into the world.
Okay. So what first inspired you to share your art? Because like it's one thing to, you know, write poetry, but it's a whole different aspect to get up on stage and share it. Like who pushed you to do that if it wasn't yourself?
My mother was very much a big hand in convincing me to bring it onto stage after giving her a Mother's Day poem one time. But she wasn't like pushing me in a sense, as she just kind of like showed me the event and showed me the opportunity. And the poetry community itself was very welcoming and felt like home to me almost instantly with the support of everyone that was there and how connected the community is. And yeah, it was very much the community and my mother that kept me going throughout this entire time.
Okay. So you said that your community is Regina Word Up and the Creative City Center?
Yes.
So how would you say that they helped you thrive as an artist? You know, what kind of opportunities or how do they inspire you to keep going?
Well, for example, when I was first brought on, I very quickly joined in the collective that we call it. And the collective, we work on setting up the events and arranging them. And Kat Abenstein was the kind of lead person back then, and she was very warm and had this way with people where she could just bring them in and kind of take out their fear and convince them to get on stage. And yeah, they really helped me to push forward, and Kat has been finding me events and hooking stuff up for me since I started out, and yeah, she's been a very big help in keeping me in this pursuit of poetry.
Yeah, it sounds like she's always like found a way for you to share your work.
Yeah, I actually feel so close with her and the community. Actually, I consider her my second mother of sorts.
Your poetry mom, per se.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome. So what are you up to right now, like poetry-wise? Do you have any plans for the future or projects that you're currently working on?
At the moment, we are printing T-shirts with my new designed logo on them, and those will be coming out right away. I'm setting up a fundraiser that'll be at the Artesian, hopefully in August. I have not set a date for that quite yet.
What are you fundraising for?
This year, when I go to Vancouver, I will be storming the stage, so I'll be going without funding from the city. And I will be taking my photographer with me so I can capture some of the moments and video it and bring it back with me.
Yeah,
so yeah, we are getting a jump on the fundraising, as it'll probably be in April again of next year. So we're just getting a nice head start on getting some of those funds in.
Can you explain to some of our viewers at home what storming the stage is?
Okay, there's you can either represent a city when you come in, or you can storm the stage as in you're going as a solo person. And you aren't really representing a organization such as Word Up, which I have represented for the last, not consecutively, but I've represented them 3 times at the Vancouver Slam.
That's so awesome. So what was the first thing that you learned when you went to SIPS? You know, it's such a large stage to be working on. What was the one thing that you took away from finding that like larger Canadian poetry community?
It kind of blew my mind a little bit how loud and expressive they were, and how also refined and specific that they kind of were to a lot of things that a lot of people aren't aware of. Sometimes in this, not in a sense of this community entirely, but like the ideals of a lot of things. People over there, they're very driven in on like social issues and social change over there, at least in the poetry crowd. And they kind of make it seem kind of very professional, but very loose and fun at the same time. Okay,
so you'd say that over there they spend a lot more performing their poetry, because I feel like in at least the ones that I've been to, there is performance in all spoken word, but it's kind of sharing rather than performing for an audience.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. Also because it's a national competition, I'm sure I'm getting a bit of a more skewered sense of it, as it's people are bringing their best work as opposed to bringing stuff that they feel the need and want to share.
So it's really refined.
Yeah, it is a little bit, and it brings everyone's best, but it also makes you want to put out your best.
That's awesome. So would you like to tell the people at home where they would be able to find you, like social medias or websites, or how could they contact you to book you?
At the moment, Facebook is probably the best option for that. On Facebook, I'm titled as Austin, the Noble Savage Ahenakew. And you can contact me through there very easily. I'm slowly working on setting my stuff up on TikTok and Instagram as well. But those are coming a little bit slower along with the other ones. Yeah.
Well, so for folks at home, that's how you can find him. So up next, you're going to be sharing some of your poetry with us?
Yes, I have a couple poems prepared for you, and some of them are my bigger showstoppers, so I'm hoping you enjoy them.
Well, I'm excited to hear it, and I hope that everyone at home is excited to hear it. So introducing to the RezX stage, Austin, the Noble Savage Ahenakew.
Close your eyes and imagine beauty. Imagine nature's abundance, respected and clean. Everyone has full and happy lives to lead, and life is working perfectly. Imagine being free. Imagine an abusive relationship, which is actually what it was. It's not a metaphor or simile. That's everything beautiful suddenly turning ugly. That's being locked in your own home, destroying you mentally, while everyone's watching you, acting like it's still working perfectly. Now, imagine a beast, but not the kind of beast that falls in love with beauty, but the kind of beast that is killing children one by one secretly, and is only noticed when it kills dozens weekly. Still, it's brushed under the rug because their futures were bleak, or the ones who were killed were just too weak. But a person's a person, no matter how small. But the way I see it, they don't seem to matter at all. Because in the belly of the beast, there's at least 60% more illicit drug use. And heavy drinking goes up by 35%. And that's only in the underage youth, too. But hey, I guess they have a way to escape. Snort this, inhale this, and inject that. And do it 12 times a day. If they run out of that, there's a can of paint thinner in the back. Good thing this beast isn't in the city, because that whole place has gone to crap. All their women have either been raped or kidnapped, and all their children live by the quote, puff, puff, pass, and pass will give them the chance to sit on Santa Claus's lap. They're fine, though. Let's take away their money and supplies, ignore their cries, and remain blind to however more many people die. The beast is code for reserves, FYI. And it proves my point if it took me telling you to realize that there's a real problem right in our face. You just need to open your eyes. Because none of this would be happening if you could see what I'm seeing, if you could feel what I'm feeling, if your stomach twisted in knots like theirs do when they wash down a handful of pills with bleach. So imagine this beast. Imagine if he strolled into your city. Imagine if he killed all your children, raped and murdered your women, pushed everyone into alcohol and drug addiction, or 50% of homes have people being beaten. Would you still think these people aren't being mistreated? No matter what we do, the scales always feel uneven. Regardless of there being a complete lack of reason, our mere existence is dealt with a charge of high treason. Despite your best efforts, we will not be cheapened. We won't be weakened. We live in a world that only serves us our truth after it's been sweetened. Our reconciliation with a side of beating and make us pay for it all with the last of our untainted feelings. My soul is in shambles over what I've been seeing. When our children are dead, it becomes a week-long trend. A couple orange donuts from Timmy's to try and make amends when we all know that they couldn't care less. Ignorant ears deflect our distress, and we're sinking with all of this extra weight in our heads. We asked you to find our children, and you took our post down instead. Think I'm lying? See if you can tell the number of residential school deaths off the top of your head. Need a hint? It's just over 10,000. A 95th call to action should be the imprisonment of the people who kill our people, because these everyday laws just aren't working for us. Drugs, rape, kidnappings, murder, and thousands of unmarked graves still waiting beneath. As a country, how do you suppose we put this problem to peace? Now open your eyes. I saw a kid at my high school. This was before my straight A's had been expelled. I never saw him again until I moved to a different house. A house with 2 doors, and each door a different fate. I saw a kid at my trap house. He asked for the back door. And for $100 of silence, I knew what this back door was for. The knocks would come, more and more. And even though they were making purchases, they had no idea what was in store. I saw someone already gone because there were clouds in his eyes. I didn't recognize him, but I felt his soul within mine. I didn't know him any more than the memories in my mind. And I still pointed him in the direction of the door that resided behind. I saw a skeleton. It had knocked on my door. It had mistaken the front for the back door, and as it stared, not at me, but lifelessly at the floor, the eyes showed me a once hopeful boy I had seen before. He was shaking like it was December and looked at our house like it was Christmas. But there was no twinkle in his eye, nor the boy I once missed. And even as I spoke to him, it was the back door he couldn't resist. I saw him more often, even though I knew him less and less. With each return, he slowly turned into a mess as the loss, sorrow, and pain peeled through his skin and began to show on his face. I began to wonder what might have happened had I turned him away from our place. I saw new faces at the door. I saw the time pass by. I got sick to my stomach because I've seen this time and time again. I saw a year without his presence. I saw better appliances in the back. I never saw an obituary, but the next knock was sent to the back. This is the trap. My name is Austin. I'm 21 years old. But every now and then, I'm not. You're not strong enough. It's a normal day, rain or shine. Anyone who may have passed by has seen my smile and already have plans for the rest of the day. I'm hanging out with friends, I'm hugging my girl, and I let my family down and have been ever since then. Papa, Tango, Sierra, Delta. A tap on my shoulder and I'm 12 years old again. I can't unclench my fist. I can't breathe. I keep hearing him yell at me. I can still feel that cold steel in my sleeve even when I'm not wearing a hoodie. What is happening to me? My eyes are watering. My arm is throbbing. I can see it all over again, and even now I can't stop it. You're not strong enough. I'm trying to focus, but I keep traveling back in time whenever I blink. The holes in the wall and broken glass run through my mind in what feels like the most literal sense. And I will never forget my cousin telling me I was his favorite person as he wiped the blood out of my eyes just in order for me to see through the pain. You're not strong enough. I hear those taunting words echoing in my brain. As each tear dribbles across my cheek, I sit in a hole in the wall where glass used to be, finding peace with every chilling inhale I breathe in. The stars look so beautiful. It's too bad they never work when I wish on every single one of them every single night. You're not strong enough. I saw and felt all the pain and I chose to run away. Then my therapist argues saying, is a war veteran running away when he comes home from battle? Therapy and PTSD are difficult things to mix, and most days I can't handle it. Papa, Tango, Sierra, Delta. Papa, Tango, Sierra, Delta. PTSD. Early on, I learned how to become a man well before I learned how to be a child. Like a man drafted at 18, I was taken at 12. Then I just left my family in ruins because I wasn't strong enough. Now there are times when I'm afraid of my own shadow. Afraid of the man in the mirror because it brings me back to the shattered glass scattered on the floor from his last freakout. Maybe it's not so much the man in the mirror or the shadow that I cast, but the thought that statistically I will one day grow up to be him. Almost felt like nothing compared to his fist when I tested the durability of that glass against my wrist. He might not be listening to this had that glass been slightly sharper. If I had tried just slightly harder. My abuser just got out of jail again. Maybe it's time for me to pick up that glass again and leave. Because I would rather let this be the end than to have to deal with the monster who he made me to be. Papa, Tango, Sierra, Delta. My name is Austin. My mind makes me feel like I'm 12 years old again when I'm actually 21. And I struggle with PTSD. Help me.
Thank you so much for coming on today, Austin.
Yes, of course. It was a pleasure to perform.
Well, every time I see you perform your poetry or spoken word, it just like leaves me breathless. Like, I just love the way that you present your work. It's just so amazing. And so the Reserve for the Beast, you added some stuff onto the end. Like, for anyone who has heard Austin before, he has continually updates his poems, well, at least this one. So what inspired you to update Reserve for the Beast?
For a lot of my poems, I go into in-depth research on like some stats to throw in real life things that are in there rather than just my words, to make it more powerful in a way, but also make it a little bit more real.
Yeah.
And in trying to find stats on the residential schools and the graves and stuff like that, I found that I wasn't able to find any of the articles or anything like that that I had even saved and stuff like that. So it's made me a little bit mad, and so I was able to update it in a way that a lot of people probably aren't even aware of the ways that it's been tamped down a bit.
Well, it's one of those things where it's easy to forget. I guess easy to forget until it's pointed right into your face and you're like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I remember the first time I heard that line about the orange donut. Oh, that that's like so true. I think that that's so powerful. Out of your 3 pieces that you've done so far, which is, I would say, the newest one?
The second one I performed, Remains to be Seen, is my most brand new one. It came from the passing away of my friend and old coworker, Austin Adams. And it hit me very deeply because he was a very close friend of mine, and he had taken care of my son a few times.
Yeah.
And yeah, because of the poem's not about him, to be clear. It's kind of just inspired by him, and it is a true story, but it's just inspired by him. And yeah, from that it made me feel very, very deeply and personally for that type of cause. So yeah, that's kind of where it came out of, just the last couple of months here.
Well, I just thought that it was like so, the story that you tell, it's so powerful and it's so true, and I feel like a lot of young people today, and I guess not just young, but people can sadly relate to that reality. And the fact that you share it with such honesty and vulnerability, it's like really powerful to hear you speak. You know, I say this to anybody who asks about you, is like, you have to be like one of my favorite poets. I mean, besides myself, the way that you share information and share your story in such like an honest and gentle, I guess you have like a gentle way of presenting your words with such like a powerful like strength behind it. I just find it so like inspiring. You know, every time I hear you speak, you make me want to, you know, write or, and that's how you make me feel. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on here. Like, you really inspire me, and I hope that everyone at home could take a minute to just sit there and think about what Austin has said. And thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for coming on to the show. And just thank you for watching another episode of RezX on Access Now. I'd just like to say I'm Tai Reign, your host, and I hope to see you again next week, so tune in.
Cold clothes and old souls with gold pros. Old foes who sold shows and hit lows. I got it all under my belt. No need to wonder why my microphone melt. It gets held in a manner like people climbing the ladder. The brains are going bananas from making their pockets fatter. I'll shatter the perfect image of rappers looking like gimmicks. Your ears are a perfect witness to witness. There ain't no limit. Holler if you hear me. Words are the bullets, my tongue is the trigger, so feel me. Yeah, and my clip is the sentence. I'm a menace to paragraphs with my audio.
If you'd like to share your feedback on the program you just watched, contact us today.
Precision, we're winning. So gather around and let us celebrate. I write my lyrics for people's spirits to elevate.
This is everyday living. This is everyday we on the grind. Every day we on the grind. Hip hop.